Hello, I'm Henry. I'll be talking you through what is CrowdShed and what is crowdfunding in about 3 minutes. We're just going to drum up some more people so that we've got a great crowd in which to do a talk to. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, at CrowdShed, at the Shed Theatre, here at Britain Means Business, we've got, for your delectation, a talk all about crowdfunding. Now what we need is a crowd. Come on guys, you want to hear us crowdfunding? What we need is a crowd, and then you can all get your money out and fund us. No, only joking, only joking. We're going to talk about crowdfunding today. Are you going to come and listen to some crowdfunding? Brilliant. Come. We'll give it two minutes more. I better not get in front of the speaker, I get feedback. Would you like to hear about some crowdfunding? I'm actually not going to talk about crowdfunding. I'm not going to give you the whole big pitch. What I'd like to talk to you about is what CrowdShed is, how CrowdShed got started, and a little bit about what crowdfunding is. What I want to really tell you about is a bit of an inspiring story about how I set CrowdShed up, what the vision that I had. Excuse me for the feedback. Oh, it's not me apparently. Oh, it wasn't us. So what is CrowdShed? CrowdShed is a funding platform. It's an investment platform where you can find your funding and fund something new, where an organisation can find the perfect mix of funding solution, whether it be equity or loans, or simply by giving a reward and welcoming donations. I think this is about business, this show, and I think one of the things that businesses sort of overlook is that when they're raising funding, they don't necessarily need to give a piece of their business away through equity or loans. They can actually pre-sell what the product is before they've even made the product, or pre-sell a service that they can promise to deliver once their crowdfund campaign has finished. So you don't need to necessarily give away the economics of your business. And actually a reward crowdfund can be great for testing a market before you've actually properly gone out there. In fact, a number of established businesses are starting to look at reward crowdfunding as a way of testing a market. Instead of using focus groups, which, let's face it, you get them into a room, you bribe them with some wine or some chocolates and then ask for their views. It's not, number one, a big crowd that you're getting into the room in that focus group. And number two, they're not actually putting their money where their mouth is in terms of do they actually want the product that a company is talking about. So what a reward crowdfund can do in terms of the market validation is broadcast a new product to a much wider audience. And if that audience wants that product, then they can buy it. They can put their money where their mouth is. If the product doesn't get to the tipping point, if it doesn't get to the target that the business, the organisation, the entrepreneur requires so that they can actually make the product and deliver it and distribute it to the people who have ordered it, then the project doesn't happen. The product doesn't go into manufacturing, and most importantly, the people that actually have initially supported it, they don't get charged, so they don't lose anything. It's a great way of market testing, as I say. The next stage is, once you've got a successful product, to actually, and you've got your audience, to actually move it forward, scale up, and that's where you need the growth capital. That's where you need your first round of equity. So you can now produce your goods, you can send them out, and now you want to properly grow. You've got the market validation, you can put an equity fundraise forward. And that's exactly what we do here at CrowdShed. We work through the market validation program with companies and then introduce equity. And we work with a lot of investors. So my background is traditional finance. I used to work for a bank, a South African bank. But the important thing is not to exclude traditional finance. It's a great source of capital, and it's still the biggest source of capital. So it's really important to bring them into the crowd, invest alongside the crowd, invite the people that actually helped to make that business happen, who validated that market in the first place through the reward crowd fund, to bring them along and invite them to invest for the financial upside of the company, alongside more institutional investment and high net worth angels. It's a great way to bring different crowds together, bring the traditional finance crowd together with consumers, particularly with consumers, because those guys that gave the product validation with the reward crowd fund, if you bring them in to the financial raise, they will then go on to be the best ambassadors for a business. And that's really the beauty of crowdfunding, is the engagement that crowdfunding can bring. I think CrowdShed is one of the few platforms that will be offering this mix of investments, this mix of funding solution. And we also work with loans to bring working capital. And again, you don't necessarily want to give away equity. Equity is one of the most valuable things, valuable finance tools that a company has. After all, you've only got a finite amount of equity, otherwise you'll dilute yourselves down. So it's really important that you work out what that tipping point is of how much you want to give away. If you can finance your business in the short term with a loan, and again, a crowd-funded loan tends to be at more attractive rates than maybe the banks will be able to lend at, if they're willing to lend at all. But at the same time, an investor in a loan will be getting a much better risk-adjusted return on their money. One of the things that we work specifically on in CrowdShed is education, and that's education on both sides. Education of the organisations that are raising money, but also education of investors, because it's really important that they understand the risk that they're putting up. As I say, equity is one of the most valuable tools a business has. But it's also the riskiest tool, effectively, for an investor to invest in. So it's really important that investors understand the risks that they're taking when putting their money into equity. Loans, they're a higher ranking in the capital structure of a company. But again, it's really important that an investor understands the risks attributed to a specific bit of loan paper. We work on education, both online on the platform, we have resources online, but we also hold workshops in the shed, as we call it, the shed. It's where these chairs that you're sitting on are from. We brought them in for a bit of homeliness here today at the show. And it's those real world events where also you're able to meet in person entrepreneurs. Maybe if you are entrepreneurs, you're able to meet in person investors. I think it's really important that we bring back the real world in the investment, into crowdfunding, into online platforms. The online platform is brilliant for providing efficiency and transparency to the whole process of investing. But it is also important that we're investing in people, we're investing in people's companies, we're investing in people's organisations, and it's really important that we're connecting as people. The internet is also great. Obviously, the shed is a finite space, like this space here is finite. And the great thing about the internet is you can broadcast. So we will be broadcasting our live pictures, if you like, the Dragon's Den that you see on television. You can become the dragons on the CrowdShed platform at these live pitch events. So, you know, if you're all entrepreneurs and you've got great ideas, we'd love to have you come into the shed and actually deliver your pitches and interact, hear the questions that investors have. It's a great way of making investment completely transparent and open. But as I say, with the check and the balance of education, we really want people to be aware of what they're investing in and what they're raising money for. You know, it's really important that entrepreneurs, business owners, really tell the story of how they're going to spend the money that they're raising, what the money is for, what it's taking them to, what's the next step, what's the next stage after that equity raise, if it's an equity raise, or what the working capital that you're acquiring is, or indeed what the reward crowdfund is. We've got a couple of projects on the platform at the moment that are effectively in that market validation stage. They're bringing on backers, supporters of those companies. Effectively, they're bringing on consumers. We've got one company is a eco accessories company largely for ladies. They make lovely handbags, great gifts for Christmas. It's called Heidi and Adele. They're raising just £2,000 to take them to a trade show so they can sell to larger shops, larger retailers. It's a great way that by using the CrowdShed platform, they can achieve a specific project, and then we're hoping that they come back, they're successful in this crowdfund, and they come back next year with us to raise equity, a more substantial amount, so that they can really scale up, so that they can use the crowdfund platform to take them to the trade show, to say to Selfridges, Harvey Nichols, etc., so they can say, look, we actually have real orders here, people want this product. Then they get the nice orders from the retailers, the multiples, and then they can really bulk up their business through an equity fundraise. It's a great example of how we're working with companies, how we're working with entrepreneurs to take their businesses forward. That's a little intro into what we're doing that is slightly different to anyone else in the crowdfunding network. And I hope please do follow us. I hope you found that useful, and do register, keep us engaged with what you're doing. We'd love to help you as businesses, as entrepreneurs. We'd love to help take your businesses further. Thank you.